Merry Christmas from MR2 land. It's now Boxing Day, day after Christmas. And as much as sort of fought the urge to come down here Christmas Day and do some car stuff, couldn't resist another day. I think most people are off work for a while. But we're having fun. Yeah, we like these cars, so can't resist. So I'm doing the big turbo one today. Well, if I get enough done on this today, I'll do stuff on the rest of them as well. Thomas is actually building up a 180 there to go in one of the other ones. And yeah, just doing stuff. It's sunny for once rather than the snow, but it's fucking freezing cold, but just getting on with it. I am just currently doing the fuel pump swap. Oh, what? Oh, Thomas has thought of something. What you got? Oh, right, yeah, actually. Fancy drive shafts.
New drive shafts.
Yes. These are never break. But we've got an idea.
This is the only two in existence.
Yeah.
MR2 1.8 Audi engine.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
But they hold the strongest CV joints, Audi CV
yeah.
joints. They're not designed for the MR2 CV joints. They're designed for strongest CV joints.
Yeah, this will not fit an MR2 normally, but it'll fit a 180 MR2.
Yeah, the 1.8, the standard MR2 is probably
about
half the
half
size
that,
of this.
roughly, yeah.
Half the size of that.
But you got a call.
What's that? Mine?
Yours, I think. Lots of MR2 progress. So fancy shafts exist, although we've got another idea, which Thomas will maybe be doing later, which may be basically just fine. But we've got an option for very fancy one-piece ones as well.
The problem is the fancy one-piece ones, they are, no matter what we do, they are expensive.
Yeah, ridiculously.
And because we probably have a different solution and it should be strong enough,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure we can make them that they don't go break.
No.
But obviously we need a proof, so
yeah, exactly. We want to. That's the thing.
You have to launch it again.
It's all well and good talking, but we want to prove. We prove everything we do. You know that. So yeah, I got to prove it. Otherwise, you know. And that's the thing. Even as it is, most people would never break it. But if I can, somebody might. But if I can't break it with this sort of abuse, nobody's going to fucking break it. So, you know, we'll see. But before, obviously everything is shut now until early January, so I can't get this mapped, but I can do all the last little bits to get it ready. So I'm swapping the fuel pump setup now. This is what was in it, which is the standard housing modified for return because they're returnless from the factory. Obviously it's got a new filter, hence it being white, and it's got a, I think in there is a Roger Clark Motorsport 340 litre per hour pump. It's fine, and it probably could do the power this is going to make, but when I had a 450, which definitely will, and this car here could do with a 320, 340, whatever, I'm going to swap them over. This is the first time I've seen standard and not side by side. This is the one I modified, you would have seen it earlier in the video. It's about an inch deeper, which is the first thing I need to check if it will even fit. Hope it will. I will see, because obviously I don't want it to squash against the bottom or anything and bugger anything up, but I also want it to sit in. So if it doesn't, I should be able to shorten it even more. I hope I don't have to. We will see. Well, after a little bit of messing and modifying, the new setup is in and plumbed in, including a whole new fuel feed line. Needs wiring in, and I need to make a modified cap, you know, the little, all it is like just to make it look pretty really and hide noise and any smells. The cap that goes between the inside of the car and that, I've got an idea how to make a modified one of them. All it is for more height for the hoses. Because yeah, you could use 90-degree fittings, but I don't like 90-degree fittings because it's a bit of a restriction, to be fair. It's a bit shit. You know, the bends are too tight, so I prefer to do it this way with straight fittings. But you know, it's fucking one of them really. But it's not hard for me to make a modified cap, so I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, we're pretty much there with that. But I find other issues. Well, actually, Thomas spotted it. I can't remember if I ever mentioned it or not on video, because I can't remember what I did last week, never mind anything else. But a little while ago, I managed to break an axle again on this drive shaft, and once again it snapped on a weld I did, and it clearly wasn't very good. Actually, when I took it apart, I realized it really wasn't any good. But what caused it wasn't necessarily the strength of the weld as such, although it did seem a bit shit when I had a look. It was basically wheel hop again. I felt the wheel hop, and that breaks everything. If anyone knows anything about drag racing and stuff, wheel hop will kill even like the strongest drive shafts or everything. It will rip apart transmissions as well. And on that note, me and Thomas was just talking about that, because what I did in the end is I thought all it did was break the drive shaft, so I removed the drive shaft and then I've welded it up properly, which I want to test again. We have got some stronger ones, which I'll mention in a second, but I want to retry what I've done and see if I can break these, because they're very easy to swap. But then Thomas noticed something. We was talking about it, and I said about, you know, watching a recent Cletus McFarlane video where it ripped out the bolts from the rear diff, or the rear axle, from wheel hop. And then literally seconds later, Thomas noticed something on mine. Where can we show you from? Don't know where you can see that, but that was my rear brace that braced. It was a solid brace that I made to go from like a loop on the gearbox that was spare to the rear subframe, you know, to hold it steady to help prevent wheel hop. And there's that much strain on the car on a launch, it actually ripped it out. It broke the aluminium on the gearbox and fucked it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get the box off now and need a new solution to eliminate wheel hop. That involves something much stronger than that, which is a pain, but we've already got an idea and I will show you in a moment. Right, so as I've shown you, the gearbox mount on that one has broken, and there's no easy way of improving it because, well, there is nowhere else. The mount itself is solid, but what it's mounted to on the gearbox just clearly can't take it. But Thomas had a bloody good idea straight away, and I will show it you now. This is basically an externally identical 6-speed box to the one that's already in the car. Difference is, this one's a Quattro box. So here normally is the transfer case, and you can run these as 2-wheel drive if you fit a half shaft to there and blank off the oil lines. There's that one, and so I think it's that one there. These two are oil feed and return to the transfer case, and then you can run it as 2-wheel drive. But what that gives me is, unlike all the 2-wheel drive boxes, it's got 4 very stout mounting bolt holes that normally the transfer case is bolted to, but that means a very big, massive brace can be built from those to the subframe, which will never break. It'd probably break the fucking subframe before it'd break the gearbox. And that should hopefully solve all the problems. Basically, wheel hop, I mean, like, you know, any big power front wheel drive car, or any big power full stop car, anything, rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, four wheel drive, wheel hop's an issue. And you've got to try and get rid of it. And it will break everything. And on mine, like I said, it even snapped off the, basically that's what's broke on mine. I had a thing to that, bolted to it, and it broke that clean off. And that's, you know, 2 centimetre thick aluminium. Snapped it like a twig. But 4 long bolts and a big thick plate to the subframe, that should do it. Hopefully. I mean, you know, any of the big power Honda drag cars, anything, they brace things up in a similar way, 2 or 3 places. I'm not sure where they do it on Hondas, but it's off the gearbox, and it's obviously it's not relevant to me because this isn't a Honda gearbox, but no matter what car you got, it's the same issue. I think if anything, we're lucky, we're blessed with the fact that these gearboxes come with some holes that we can do this with. Because 4-wheel drive, normally none of these boxes, any other type of box would have that. So hopefully this is our solution. It's the same physical dimensions, so it go on in every other way. It just allows a big fucking mountain thing. Only trouble is it means now I've got to take that box off, blah blah blah, you know. I'd rather have not had this happen ever. But I'd rather it happen now than in the future. What I'm doing, as you're seeing, it's the posh word for it would be development, but really it's just breaking shit until things stop breaking. And hopefully this is it. I mean, this, don't get me wrong, it's still a internally standard gearbox. So although they're strong, they're not unbreakable, but there's lots of easy upgrades for them as well. But at least when this is in place with a brace, from then on it's literally pop the box off. You know, if you want to upgrade it, you upgrade it, but it's all the same parts, it's the same case. And also, if anything that helps me, is the Quattro 6-speed boxes are way more common and cheaper to get hold of than the 2-wheel drive ones. So, I mean, I've run a 2-wheel drive one on that. I'll probably run that box on this one, because this one's not going to have the grip of that one, so it's not going to be a problem. But with this one, you know, big tyres, semi-slicks, blah blah blah, it's breaking shit. Whereas this one, I'm not going to be running big tyres and stuff like that, you know, so shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, as much as I'd rather not do this, I'm quite excited because this will be a solution. So this will be my solution to the pipes not fitting under the standard cover. I will modify the standard cover to basically see, as you can see here, plus a lid on it, of course. What actually I'm using here is another fucking classic example of my recycling. That is the old tailpipe off my Subaru Impreza drift car that I had many years ago. I didn't like the massive tailpipe, so I don't think it was ever used. I cut it off like immediately, because it was like a 3-inch system. So I cut off the original typical Jap 5-inch tailpipe and welded on like just a 3-inch or 3.5-inch pipe to be much more subtle, because I don't like big gay tailpipes for nothing. So, but it's ideal for this. So basically, as you'll see here, with a lid on it and a hole for the wires to go through, and happy days. You know the badass Borg Warner K26 Marine turbos? They're these. And the big whole set HE400. Well, I've stripped them all down, inspected them, gave them a real good clean, put them back together, and I'm going to do the sensible thing and sell them. I ain't going to use them anytime soon, and the money is probably more handy than just hoarding them for some reason. It's a shame because they are cool as fuck, but you know, they're more useful to somebody else than me. I mean, this thing is a fucking weapon. Awesome turbo. Badass. Really fucking tidy, this thing as well. Like, well, they all are. They all look very little used. They're all definitely been ran. There's no doubt about it. But they've got, you know, none of them's got any play, any damage, any nothing. They've all had very little use, which is nice. And they are cool as fuck. That's basically a VGT version of a HE351. So yeah, 60mm billet compressor inducer, a HX35 size turbine wheel, and T4 flange, and a VGT, so a spool up, like it's got like a 6cm housing, but it will open up fully to what is it, 28 or something. So yeah, mega. I'd have definitely run it on this engine, on the 1.8T, if I had it earlier. I mean, it's technically smaller than the turbo I've got now. It's got a much bigger turbine housing when fully open. This is 28, that's 16. This actually got a smaller turbine wheel than the turbo that's actually on this. This is fucking ace. And these, yeah, K26s, but with big 54mm inducer compressor wheels, which is bigger than I've ever seen a K26 have. So again, I'm going to just put these for sale because they are practically brand new. So yeah, good times. It's coming to the end of the video now because it's getting bloody freezing and I've not ate anything since last night, and it's about 9 PM now. So yeah, I think it's been about 24 hours since I ate, so I'm a bit hungry. But I'll show you a few things before I go. Firstly, drive shafts. These are the top bollocks, one piece, amazing, but fuck off expensive ones we've got, which is an option if need be. But this is the latest incarnation of the custom ones Thomas has made, and he's confident these will be just as strong, and to be honest, so am I. But I think I'm going to be testing these to destruction just to see. But yeah, they look fucking serious. And another little thing I'll show you. This is a 1.8T that Thomas is getting ready to put in a MR2, unsurprisingly. And these engines are really good and really strong. As long as you bought like a known good one, they are good. But you really want to check things over like you would on any engine. These are less risky than most engines for sure, but they're also really cheap to make nicer, replace stuff, blah blah blah, so it's crazy not to. So I'll show you what he's done. He's gone further than I probably would, because he's actually changed a sump for a steel one, you know, a steel bottomed one, which, to be honest, considering how cheap they are, I probably should do that. I never have, but he always likes to change the sump for a brand new steel bottomed one, because they're like less than £100 on eBay. It's like, it's a no-brainer really. But you know, that is one thing. And obviously you want to get the sump off these anyway, to A, you can check everything, and B, you can clean the oil pickup, because on these they don't tend to break, apart from sometimes when they get old, the oil pump pickup can get blocked with crud, and it ends up starving the engine of oil, and it ends up fucked. So yeah, it's just one of them. And people are, oh yeah, the engine's knackered. It's like, yeah, but if you'd have like made sure the strainer weren't fucking blocked up, it would have never got that far, and it was fine. And on this, yeah, Thomas took off the sump to inspect it and cleaned the strainer as a matter of course, but it turned out it was fucking clean as anything anyway, so it's clearly a very good engine. I mean, these are all engines that we've they come out of like running, driving cars, so we know they're good, but it's always nice to be sure. And it's funny because it looked like it had a recent cam belt and tensioner, but they've not changed the water pump. Why the fuck would you not bother? It's the easiest job in the world, and look how crappy this water pump is. It is so crusty and nasty, it's horrible. So yeah, Thomas has fitted a new water pump. But yeah, it had a new cam belt and tensioner fitted, but they've not done the water pump. Ridiculous. I mean, this water pump, well, it might work, but it ain't in good condition. And again, another thing you'd always want to change is, well, personally on these MR2s anyway, is I like to, and Thomas does, change the water fittings to metal ones, because A, they're cheap as anything, and B, the plastic ones, when they get old, they get brittle. Whereas, you know, so it's a good bet to replace them with brand new ones, be it plastic or not. And especially this one is awkward to get to when it's in the car. I've removed it a few times on mine. It's not the end of the world, but you know, it's easier not to. So before the car goes in, it's nice to have that. But also change the thermostat, because again, look at the thermostat on this car. This is what came out of it, and it'd be fucked, knackered. Ridiculous, really. But you know, it's a couple of quid, but people don't change them. And it's all these simple things that can make a car, you know, be a reliable car rather than a pain in the ass. But people don't think straight sometimes. But yeah, this is one Thomas is preparing to put in an MR2, and like you can see, he's keeping it very standard manifold, standard turbo, whatever, because you know, this alone, even though it's all nice and standard and, you know, very little custom stuff, still make 260 horsepower and coming up for 300 pound-foot of torque. So it'll be a fucking weapon in one of these, more than a, you know, a case swap one would, even with mods, and a million fucking times better power band, and cheaper, and a lot easier to, and cheaper to replace and to tune. And it's, yeah, relatively simple. So that's the trigger wheel. So the standard RPM gauge works on the dash. That's his custom stainless steel TIG welded mounts. But yeah, I think Thomas is going to be doing proper videos on this soon, but I thought I'd show you while I'm here. But yeah, it's freezing cold, so I am quitting for tonight. I will show you, wow, there's a lot more to go. As you can tell, I'm halfway through things, and now I've got to take off a gearbox. So there's a lot more to go on these cars, but I'm gonna spend quite a lot of time down here in the next week or so, week or two. But yeah, you know, you'll see more quite soon. So hope you like what you've seen so far. Hope you had a good Christmas. And yeah, I'm off. As always, I got a Patreon. I'll put the link in the description if you want to help out in any way. Anything's a winner. I mean, you know, I think it makes me, between all the people, you know, giving a quid here and there, you know, 50p for some people, whatever, I think it adds up to about 45-50 pound a month, which sounds like fuck all, but anything's a bonus, because that'll pay for, like, you know, however many trips here and back fuel wise and stuff like that, you know. It's like, because genuinely a few weeks ago I wasn't coming here that much because I couldn't justify spending the fucking fuel costs, which has kind of delayed things a bit. So it really does, you know. You might think, it makes no difference, but fucking does, trust me. So yeah, I'm off, and I will see you on the next video, and I reckon that's only a few days away. Ta-ra.